Hello everyone, welcome to the stream, and today we are going to be flying the CRJ-700 by Airsoft from Washington Dulles Airport to LaGuardia in New York City. So without further ado, let's get into our cockpit and start setting up our plane. So the first thing that we are going to do is start our APU, and for that we'll press on the power fuel button once and then on APU start stop. Also, this is the time we would turn on all our lights that we need. So navigation lights goes on for now. We don't need logo lights or other lights. Externally right now it's broad daylight, and for seat belt we can turn those on. No smoking sign goes on. Emergency exit lights goes armed, and for now this should be it. Now that we're done with that, next thing we're going to do is set up our zero fuel weight and block fuel for our flight from SimBrief. So we're gonna go to our performance tab, and we're gonna change it to zero fuel weight. And first of all, we are gonna input our zero fuel weight, which today is 60,962. There you go. And next we're gonna do is input our block fuel, which is 7,768. Once we have that, we can press on the set payload once, twice, however many times we want, and now we are good with that. So the next thing that we're gonna do is focus on our flight plan, which should be right here. Yeah. So for our flight plan, it's gonna be simple once we download our flight plan using the SimBrief downloader. So I'm gonna do that first. If you guys don't use this tool, I highly recommend you use it to download your flight path. So we can see that we already have the flight plan selected, so we can just export it. Once it's exported, we can go ahead and first initialize our position on our flight computer. There you go. And also we can input our airport code, which is KIAD. That should be good. Next we can go to our flight plan. Yeah. So next we can go to our flight plan, and if you have downloaded the flight plan file from SimBrief using the SimBrief downloader or using the browser, all you have to do is input the two airports code. So it would be KIAD and KLGA. Once we do that, we should have our flight plan ready over here, and next thing we can do is execute. So the next part is going to departure and arrival, and selecting runway 01R, and the SID that we're gonna fly today is Jacoby 4, so we can select that. And I don't think we have a transition for this. Actually we might be flying AGuard, so I'll just select that. And we can hit execute one more time. We'll go back to the first page for departure and arrival, go to arrivals, and select ILS 04 along with Corey 4. And for transition, once again we can select AGuard. Just looking at the charts on Navigraph charts, yes, we can select AGuard. Okay, everything is selected. And actually for transition, for the approach, we can select bang. I think that is what I've selected for my charts here. Yes. So we can go ahead and execute it, and now we're gonna go to legs page to make sure that any vectors like this or discontinuity, if there is any, we have to remove those. So as I can see, we already have a vector. We can select the next point and put it on the vectors. We can go to next page, and we can see over here discontinuity, and that is because we have two AGuard points. So we can select the last one, put it on the first one. We can keep going next. I don't see anything, and this should be it. So for our flight plan, everything looks good as of now. We can execute that, and the next page that we're gonna go to is perf init. Before we do anything, we'll go back to our flight pad, and we're gonna copy our perf init data to FMS. So once we do that, we can go back to our FMS, and now we're gonna have all the values for zero fuel weight and our block fuel and all that. Our cruising altitude, which we can also get from SimBrief flight plan tonight. Tonight, as of the real time right now, we are going to be flying at flight level 290. So we can input that, put it on our cruising altitude. We can go to next page. If you want, you can input the wind. I'm just gonna put the cruising wind average, which is 282 at 063. We don't need that, but I'll just input that. Previous page, we can execute that once. Let's go to VNav, and we don't need to do anything over here. So one thing that I like to do is I'm going to go to my MFD menu, and I will turn on the VNav just to have that on my MFD right here. But once I've done that, I can go back to legs page, and that will be it for setting our flight computer. The next thing we're going to do is set up our V speeds, and to do that we're going to go to our flypad, and and we can just click on set all. This should set all our speeds, as you can see right here. So we have all our speeds selected, and okay, now that we are done with that, the next thing we are going to do is QNH and trims. So for QNH, we can just press the B key for today, and that will set our QNH. We don't have to do too many fancy things. And next is our trims. So our trims is basically, we're gonna go to our flight computer, check the 7.6 over here, and now we have to go back to our screen right here, which will be something like this. Yeah, so right over here we can see our trim is 7.5, and we have to be at 7.6. So I'm just gonna use my trim, and there you go, it's 7.6. So that is good. The next thing that we are going to do is go to our overhead panel and turn on our windshields, set them to low. This should do it for now, and we have to also turn on all our stabilizations, like trim stabilizations, max trim, and also we can turn on our yaw dampers right now. Next we are preparing to turn on our engines. So before we do that, we can go to our aircraft settings and close any doors. Also, we can remove our wheel chocks.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the captain and crew, welcome aboard this flight. We hope you enjoy flying with us.
Okay, I'll put the audio a little bit low there. But yeah, moving forward, we will turn our left fuel pump and right fuel pump. We already have our APU started. We are gonna set all our hydraulics to auto and on positions. So first, third, and fourth goes auto, and the second one goes on. We are also going to turn on our beacon light, as we're gonna turn on our engine pretty soon. And with that done, we can plan our pushback first. So I'll just clear those. For pushback, I use the pushback toolbar. I am going to pre-plan my pushback, just opening my airport chart on here. Okay, it's gonna be quite a long taxi, seems like, but we are going to pre-plan our pushback here, and once we are pushing back, we're also gonna turn on our engine. So we're gonna move all the way over here and then turn facing this side, so we can start our pushback.
Cockpit to ground. This is ground. Stand by. pin is installed, all doors and hatches closed, and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set, lifting the aircraft.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Okay, we are going to release our parking brake.
Please release parking
Parking
brake.
brakes are released.
Okay.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
Okay, now we can slowly turn on our engine. So we're gonna turn on the right engine first. So we press the right engine, and then we will monitor our N2 over here. Once our N2 gets to 20, we're gonna unlock our left throttle, and we're gonna put it to idle. So it's on 18, 19, and it's on 20. So we're gonna put it on idle. We're gonna wait for the engine to stabilize. Once it is, we are good to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention as we display the safety features and procedures of the aircraft in case of an emergency. During an emergency, please remain in your seats with your seatbelts fastened and your seats in the upright position.
Okay, now that we have our
In
engine
case of
on,
dropping
we can
cabin
go
pressure,
up,
breathing masks will drop from the
press our
steering
left
axis
engine
placed over your
starter,
head.
come back to the
If there
screen,
is smoke in the cabin during
and
the
repeat the
evacuation of
same.
aircraft, the walkway emergency lights will display to the exits, which are located here and here. In case of an extreme emergency,
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
position, which is
Parking brake
Pushback
set.
is
between your
Parking brake set, lowering aircraft.
We would also like to remind you that you should turn off all electronic devices.
Ground. You may disconnect.
For paying attention during
okay. We're
Okay, sir.
already
Cleared
past
to disconnect.
20.
Pin has been removed. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to see something on my Streamlabs. We have our engine set, and we are gonna follow through more details shortly. Okay, now there we have all that. I'm just going to bring out my screens here. Okay, the next step is we are gonna go up. First, we're gonna turn off our APU, and then we are gonna turn on our probe heats, left and right. Also, we can turn on our reverse thrusters, which I have already mapped on one of my panels, so I can just move that, and you can see over here the reverse thrusters are armed. We can turn on our nose wheel steering, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We can put our flaps to takeoff flaps configuration, and we can turn on our taxi lights. Everything seems good, and we can start moving shortly towards our runway. Also, as we're not flying with ATC, on our autopilot panel we can set up our cruising altitude, which is 29,000 feet. And we are gonna turn on next taxiway to right, and then we'll be going at the end until we get to our runway. I'm sorry, I actually cannot see any chats if there are, and I'm trying to figure that out. That's why my taxiing is very choppy at the moment, but I'm just trying to figure out the Streamlabs how to get the panel where I can see all the chats. Okay, we are almost near the runway, and once we get there we'll have other few things to do. Also, this would be a good time to set up few of the things in our autopilot, so we can turn on nav, and also we can turn on our flight level change speed, which should be 240. So that's the speed I want to climb at. So put that on my autopilot panel, and we should be good with that. Okay, we are going to take a left turn over here, and we will be ready to take off. We'll just line up and
Ladies and
wait.
gentlemen, the captain has advised that we are now cleared for takeoff.
Turn on my strobe light, my landing lights, taxi light goes off. Actually, we can just stay over here and get some of the things ready. So one of the things that we need to do is turn our X-Flow override here, and yeah, that should be it. We can turn on our toga mode, and now we can go ahead, line up and take off. The CRJ, one of the reasons why I love flying the CRJ is because I've been flying the fly-by-wire A320 a lot, and with fly-by-wire A320 it is not much of a hands-on. It is more like the computer is flying mostly. After takeoff I tend to fly for a bit, and then it's all autopilot until we get to minimums or 500 feet above the ground, and that's when I land it. But with the CRJ, you do a lot of throttle management as well as descent. Also, the entire descent is completely on to you. You have to manage the speed. You have to put in what vertical speed you want to descend at. Yeah, but that's one of the reasons I really like to fly the CRJ. Okay, now that we are lined up with the runway, we can go ahead, put it on toga. I'm still learning how to fly this plane, and especially the landing, because I always mess up on landing. Okay, 80 knots, releasing pressure on the yoke, trying to manage the central line, and rotate. Let's go. Positive rate of climb, landing gear up. Flap goes to 1, thrust reverser goes off, and we can go to climb on our throttle. Flaps fully retract. And in a bit we can turn our autopilot, but I'll just hand fly for the moment until we get to a good altitude. As you can see, it's very responsive. I really like that about it. We are crossing 6,000 feet. Once we hit 10,000 feet, we can turn on our autopilot. For now, it is fun flying this. And we're crossing 8,000 feet. We have some strong tailwind, about 30 knots. And in a moment we're gonna get to 10,000 feet. And there you go, we are crossing 10,000 feet, so our landing lights goes off and autopilot turned on. Soon we're gonna be crossing 18,000 feet, and that is when we're gonna put our altimeter to standard as per regulations here in US. Here you go, we have crossed it, so we're gonna put that to standard. And I'll be back shortly before we get to our top of descent point. Enjoy the flight. So we have reached our cruising altitude, and this is where I would slowly cut back on our throttle from climb to 10 so that we don't overspeed. Also, we are passing our transitioning point from our sit to star. Now this is one of those stars where both the last point, the transitioning point of SID, which is the last point, also is the first point of the star. So we're passing that point. We already passed it just about now, and soon we are going to start our descent. Not too soon, but in about 15 minutes we are going to start our initial descent from TOD point, and yeah, this should be a fun short trip. So if we go to our screen over here, you can see it says that our TOD is in about 2 minutes and it is 21 nautical miles away. Not sure if we're gonna get there in 2 minutes, but yeah, it's about 21 nautical miles away. As of right now, we are flying over, I believe, Delaware. I'm not sure where Dover is, but it's most probably Delaware, so we're flying right over there. And yeah, that is Delaware. Soon we're going to be entering Pennsylvania area, and then it should be a very short descent to New York City. Yep, we are getting to our TOD point. So before we get there, there are a few things that we need to set. First, we are gonna set our ILS frequency, which is 110.5. Is it? Yes, 110.5. So we will do that right now. 110.50. So there you go, that is set. Also, we are gonna set our minimum decision altitude, which for runway 04 in LaGuardia is 283. So I believe we can go up to 280, and that is located right over here, MDA. So we are going to set about 280. There you go, that should do it. And the landing elevation is about 13 feet, so we don't need to worry about that today. We're gonna go back to our default view, and we are about to hit the TOD point. So once we do, we are gonna set our altitude, which should be, for our next restriction, it is about 10,000 feet. So we are going to set our altitude to 10,000 feet. And we shall start our descent about right now. So initially we're going to start about 1600 feet per minute. I'm going to cut down on my throttle. So for this aircraft, it is actually fun to do it. As you can see on our PFD, it shows us a donut to follow, and over here you can see a point that tells us if we are above that altitude or below it, and we can just follow our V speed following this blue circle, whatever you want to call it. And if we follow that continuously, we should get down to that exact altitude that we need to. The only thing is we have to manage our own speed, and that is it. That's actually kind of the fun of flying this plane, where we are managing the descent which I really like compared to fly-by-wire A320, where everything is kind of managed by the autopilot computer or flight management computer. We can also check some stuff right here. So legs, next, brand, Korea, RBV, Tikes, Minx, Proud. So right after Proud we are going to go to, yeah, right after Proud we are gonna go join our initial point for our ILS, actually our glide slope. As of now we are descending down to about 10,000 feet initially, and then we'll decide on the, well, we have to get to 10,000 feet by the time we reach Corey waypoint, which is in a bit, and after that we can just descend down to our glide slope intercept altitude, which is about 3,000 feet. We are about to hit 18,000 feet when we are going to set our altimeter, which I'll just use the B key just to save some time, and also we are not using ATC. Normally for ATC I use pilot to ATC, which is kind of not online, but you still get to talk and you still receive some good instructions compared to the, God forbid, whoever uses the default ATC by Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's just horrible. Okay, we are crossing 18,000 feet, so I'm going to go ahead, set mine, which is, it looks like 290.902. That's good. We're descending down pretty quick. I think I will also go ahead and set my landing speed right here just to be just to get things done, and later we don't have to rush about it. So once we hit this Corey waypoint at 10,000 feet, we are going to descend down to 3,000 feet, which will be our initial approach fix for our glide slope. We're descending down at about 2,200 feet. I hope the passengers are doing well. I'm thinking if we are gonna get to 10,000 feet by the time we get to Corey, we might be a little bit off of that altitude, but shouldn't be that big of a deal. I will keep on hitting my heading key because that's what I heard, that's what you have to do, just so that if any time we do get instructions to use some other heading, we can easily move to heading and slightly move it from whatever heading we were following. Okay, finally it looks like we are going to hit 10,000 at Corey. This pink line over here, let me just zoom in a little bit more. This pink line over means that by this point we are going to reach whatever altitude we have selected over here. So it seems like we are going to get there by the time we hit Corey, which is good news. That's what we have to do, and once we do that, we should descend down to about 3,000 feet. I'm really hoping I can nail this landing. Let's see how that goes. And as of right now, we have some very strong tailwind, and I hope we don't face it when we are about to land, because our runway is runway 04, where we might actually end up facing some tailwind. Okay, we are hitting 10,000 feet, so I'm about to put it to 3,000 right here. Yeah, there you go. And we are going to descend at about 1,200 to begin with. Also, we are going to get below 10,000, so our landing lights come. We don't need, actually, yeah, we can just leave that on. Also, I forgot to tell the passengers that they can move around, but I guess they don't want to anyways, so I'll leave that on as we are descending already. That is that. We are slowly descending down from 10,000 feet to 3,000 feet, and we are descending at about 1,000 feet per minute. Okay, this is where our altimeter changes as well to 3046. Drastic change, but I guess this is what happens when we don't use ATC. Also, for landing elevation, I'm thinking we can just put it to 20, and we can check over here our landing elevation. So that is set to 20. Everything else is looking good up here. I like to constantly check if everything is good. All the switches are where it should be, and we can actually also go ahead and check our checklist. So descent checklist says landing elevation set, fuel check, TCAS set, radar on off. Well, we'll just keep it off. CS, I have no idea what that is. Landing data is set, which is our minimum distance and elevation. Approaching brief complete before landing. Okay, we're descending pretty fast. Okay, so before landing would be flight attendant advised, passenger signs it is already turned on, thrust reverser will be armed, flaps will be set, and landing gear will be down. We don't need to worry about any of that right now. We can just focus on descending down at the right altitude. Also, we have to stay below 250 knots. I'm not sure how to change this Mach to speed, it just does it by itself, but as I can see on our speed band we are below 250. I hope the Mach calculates, the Mach represents 250 as well. But so far the flight is actually going smooth, and I really hope I can nail this landing. My landings are not good. I'm still trying to work on my landings, but hopefully this time it's gonna be good. And once again, one of the reasons why I love flying this plane is the amount of work that you have to do compared to fly-by-wire A320 or other planes. But in CRJ you have to do your own throttle management. I love doing that. It is challenging, but I do love it. And I love doing short regional flights with this plane, and I feel like I will stream more shorter flights. It's fun to fly, it's not too time consuming, and I'm also planning to do the fly-by-wire A320 from cold and dark to cold and dark, just like this tutorial flight video, whatever you wanna call it. So as of now we are descending down to 3000 feet, and we are descending down at 900 feet to about 1000 feet per minute. Our speed is getting down. I don't want it to go too low, as I do not have intention to stall this plane at all. So one thing about descending is that, once again I'll mention this, if you follow your PFD, if you follow the blue marker and the star over here, you are gonna descend at the perfect rate to perfect altitude. This is what I really love. So it says lock will be tuned, so this means that the localizer frequency will be tuned, but we already did that over here. As you can see, 110.5, which is for LaGuardia runway 04 ILS frequency. And we can check over here, we have only 2 more waypoints before we hit our initial approach fix for glide slope. Let's go to our outside view for a second and enjoy that for a while. We are soon entering NYC area, and let me just zoom in a little bit for our MFD. Yeah, that sounds good. We are going to hit our next waypoint in about a minute. The next few things are gonna go pretty fast. We're gonna go at about 800 feet per minute, descending down. We can see over here Verrazano Bridge in Brooklyn that connects Brooklyn and Staten Island, and John F. Kennedy Airport is right over here somewhere. Yeah, but this flight is about to end very soon. I hope whoever was watching was having fun, and once again I hope I can land properly. Oh, I did not notice that we are overspeeding. Not by too much, but we are overspeeding. And New York City skyline right over there. This one is One World Trade Center. We are gonna fly over Verrazano Bridge shortly, and we have a lot of tailwind. I am not excited for that. We chose the wrong runway. So we need to descend down pretty fast if we want to get to Bang by the time we planned. Also, we are going to descend down a bit
Ladies and
more.
gentlemen, we are about to land. Please
So
remain
we're gonna go
seated
about
until we have
1700.
stopped.
I think I messed up a little bit. I got distracted there. So yeah. Okay, not bad. Not bad. We got to that, and I'm gonna turn on my approach mode so that we can intercept the ILS. Also, this is where I would put first flaps down. Yep, we are kinda hitting our speed limit here. Because of the tailwind, it is gonna be very challenging. I should have chose some other runway, but it's too late right now. I don't want to do a go around at this moment. I'm just too lazy and it's too late to do that. So I am just going to fly it like that. Because of the tailwind, we ended up descending down pretty fast as well. Yep, we have 24 knots of around 27 knots of tailwind, which is not good at all for landing. I just hope this doesn't ruin our landing. We're about to intercept our glide slope, and I can see the runway light already from here.
Terrain.
All sorts of warning, but it is going okay. Second flaps goes down. Next we're gonna put down our, once we intercept, we're about to intercept our glide slope, I will put down my landing gear. The tailwind is gonna kill it, I know. Okay, we are on glide slope. Landing gear goes down, flaps goes down. You know what, I'm just gonna hand fly it from here. That tailwind is gonna make it impossible to land. Reverse thrusters goes on.
Sink rate. Sink rate.
Oh man, this is so hard.
Sink rate.
Okay, finally the wind has calmed down, but now we are
Sink rate.
way too high. But you know what, I'm not
Sink
doing a
rate.
go around.
300.
We are way
200.
too
Sink
fast
rate.
for this landing,
200.
so I hope we can still manage it.
Sink rate.
100. 50.
Ooh,
Sink
40.
rate.
30. 20.
Okay. Come on, let's get down. Let's get down.
20. 10.
Okay. 592. Damn, that was really bad. But you know what? We still landed in one piece, I guess. Okay, such a dramatic landing. Oh my god. That was crazy. Reverse thrust comes normal. Okay, that was actually pretty terrible. Should have chosen a different runway, but I guess it is what it is. And at least we landed. So we're gonna turn right on this taxiway in front of us. Thrust reversers can go off. It was a very, very hard landing, and nobody would ever do that.
Until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
We are gonna turn those off. Well, thank you for watching this video. I know the ending wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but it is what it is once again. And yeah, I'll work on my planning better, I guess. Initially, I had runway 33, which I think would be good. And also, I feel like it's because I got distracted towards the end, and I ended up not checking that my speed was way too high. That was kinda also because of the tailwind that we were having, which was around 27 to 30 knots, which is way too much. But if in real life this landing was actually executed, there would be structural failure. I just didn't have the energy to do a go around. But hopefully in the next video we can do a smoother landing. Not butter, I'm still not at that level, but much more smoother. Next I'll be going to the gates and I will be shutting down my plane. If you do want to watch until then, you're more than welcome. I think we're gonna take that gate that we can see at 12 o'clock right now. Cares about the taxi lines? We can just simply go to our gate. And we're gonna stop right here. Parking brake goes on. We will go up, stop our right engine, stop our left engine, bring it all the way back, and there you go. We can turn off our beacon light. The engine is off, and yeah, that should be it. We can go to our aircraft settings, remove the chocks, connect ground power unit, and that is it. Fuel pumps goes off, hydraulics goes off, and that is it for this flight. Thank you for watching this video. It wasn't the best ending, but I guess this is gonna wait for today. And once again, have a good night. I'll see you in the next one.